So, wanted to make a point that even though it's been said that an old dog can't learn new tricks, old humans can. We can learn at any stage in life. But let me make a few points that when your loved one is struggling and learning something, be patient with them. You know, we get to thinking that the way we've done things all our lives is the right way because it works for us. And it's hard sometimes for one person to see the point of another person and see the value in doing it differently. So if you're struggling with your partner thinking that you're just doing it wrong, be patient. They can learn, you can learn. And like I've said in videos before, you don't want to try to change each other. Understand that I'm going through a journey in life, and so is my partner. I want to learn things. I want to continually growing and becoming a better human being, and so does my partner. Give them credit for that and be patient. And definitely don't give them that I told you so face. Or worse, even say I told you so. It's not going to help. If you really want to grow as a couple and as human beings, be patient with each other.
This is Dan.
This is my son.
Don't mind me, I'm just the awkward person in the middle.
So we wanted to have a video to conclude or
Extend.
extend. That's a great word. The last video, the episode 6, where we had our talk about cell phone usage while out on a date or in a social situation.
Right.
Ooh, part 2. Interesting.
Yeah. So one of Leah's points in part 1 was, I want to have my cell phone with me in case there's an emergency with my mom or somebody else in my family. And I go, yeah, and I didn't say this, but mentally I was going, yeah, well, whatever, right? Like anything ever happens. So literally within a week.
The first problem was on a Friday when we went out to dinner, and the second situation happened the next Friday.
Exactly,
we went
1
out
week
to
later.
I decided to do my best to keep my cell phone in my purse. I actually turned off the volume. I put it on Do Not Disturb. I put a, what do you call it, responder on my text messaging that says, hey guys, I'm out on a date. Got my phone turned off. Talk to you tomorrow. And so we were sitting with our friends, having a
nice
great
dinner.
time. And I don't know if you've noticed on these videos that I have
A smartwatch.
a smartwatch, and it does tell me if it kind of buzzes a little bit on my wrist, if I get a phone call or a text message or an email or whatever my phone gets. Well, my watch said, Daniel's calling you. I go, oh, okay, no. Continued with the...
Typically calls for pretty benign reasons, like...
Yeah, sometimes just to say hi. He's a good son. He
I
calls his mommy.
I mean, when you need to figure out what season to use on meat, who do you call?
Mom. So I don't know why he was calling, but generally if it's not a real big reason, I just say no. He gets the point. It goes right to voicemail, and he knows that I can't really answer the phone right now. So that's kind of our thing. And if it's important, he calls back.
Well, let's cut to the chase. Okay?
So he called back, and David noticed that my watch was saying that Daniel called back, and he said, isn't that Daniel on the phone? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, go ahead and take the call.
So Leah got up, walked away, and took the call. And lo and behold, what was happening for Daniel that night?
Fire. Well, basically, what happened is there was a fire at the place I was living, the apartment building. And so basically, I've been, while it was going on, posting videos to let people know I'm safe. Then I'm sitting here going, oh, drat, I didn't call my mother yet. This is going to be awkward if she randomly sees those videos. Hey, Mom, guess what?
The building's on fire. So not only was the building on fire, they basically, as the police and the fire department came, they locked Daniel out. And Daniel had shorts on, and it was, how cold was it that night?
I don't know.
It was
10,
cold.
20 degrees.
Yeah.
So since his apartment was about 16 minutes by GPS from the restaurant we were at, David very nicely
Got in the car.
volunteered to go get him.
So that's the long part of the story. The short part of the story is it was kind of a classic I told you so moment that, yeah, there are emergencies sometimes that you need to get the cell phone. Okay, so that was an example of when cell phones were appropriate in a social environment. Literally, Dan's building was on fire.
So we want to kind of have a discussion, since Daniel is a 20-something person, kind of at the end of the millennial period and kind of the beginning of the Gen X period. He's kind of in between there. We want to have a little chat about, what actually is this thing, this generational thing that people of your age, give or take a few years, just think it's okay to just sit there with their phones while you're in a social setting that bugs our generation, just bugs us crazy. What is it? Why does it bug us? And
Why is it okay
for
for
you?
you
It's
guys?
just normal.
So the best way to put this, if anything, is when it comes to millennials are kind of in this weird change spot when it comes to technology and advances. The best way I can conclude why we millennials, or honestly, the best way I put it, people my age are okay with having cell phones at like a dining table or during social gatherings is because we're just used to those being common things in our lives, because that's just what we grew up with. All this awesome technology and advancement came while we were maturing. Like, heck, even those younger than me are sitting at home with tablets, either watching YouTube or doing
This
homework
channel.
now. Like yeah, you've got like younger people still in elementary and everything, and they're getting more used to using computers for school and everything. So you got to think everyone's just trying to make sure that they're used to this technology, because the more people used to it, the more our society can grow. So the best way I can explain it is we don't mind it because we grew up with it. You guys didn't. You guys are used to everything being different.
When I was in high school and college, if you wanted to call somebody, you had to get to a physical phone with a wire connected to it. A pay phone, they don't even exist anymore. Or, a physical phone connected to, and, when I was a little kid, the big advance was go to phone with the push buttons on it versus the dial. So that whole concept, the whole smartphone thing, is only 5 or 7 years old. It's not that old.
So I guess the beef that David and I both have and agreed on in the first video is that when a person is sitting there on their phone playing a game or messaging with somebody who is not in the social situation, to us that's rude. I get more than David does having the phone there, just for the emergency situations, for, say, whatever I know this happens. You text the person sitting next to you because you don't want the person across the table to hear what you're saying to that person. I kind of get that. But what we're having trouble getting is, when you sit there and you play a game, when the other people are sitting around the table having a face-to-face conversation, you don't think that's rude?
Well, yeah, in the context of us being around with you guys, that would make sense, because for you guys, when you are in your social situations at dinner or anything, you guys are like, hey, you shouldn't have your phone out. So yeah, that would be completely rude for you guys based on what you guys are used to. But for me, or at least for a majority of people my age who is probably in the gaming community, we're kind of sitting around used to having conversations while we're doing stuff on our phones because we're used to gaming while socializing. It's just something
that's an excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that sometimes when you're playing a game online, you're actually chatting with other players in the game, stuff that doesn't have to do with the game. So you're saying that's just all part of the social picture?
It's part of the social picture, yeah. Another way to think of it is there's some people who sometimes need to be doing things with their mind while they're talking. Like, I don't know if this is something...
Fidget spinner?
Yeah, fidget spinner is one way to put it. That's more of someone who's antsy who needs to do something while talking with people. Like, you know how you got the people who are like stomping on the floor, doing that doing that weird thing, and you're like, stop doing that, I'm trying to work. Stuff like that.
Yeah, like the...
But there are some people who need to do things like puzzles. I don't know if this is something you guys are used to, but Rubik's Cubes. Would you guys usually have conversations with a person who's just sitting there messing with a Rubik's Cube?
We would think that they should put the cube down and look at us while we're talking to them.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So that's just a generational thing. I think there's a difference between our generation and your generation.
Yeah, I've sometimes had people tell me that it's weird when I look at their eyes when I'm talking to them. They have actually said to me, what are you looking at me for? Because I'm talking to you. I think I should look at you and respect you as a person while I'm talking to you. I've actually had people tell me that makes them feel weird.
Well...
Is that part of it?
The way I can put it is I'm listening to you. I'm looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
While some people acknowledge that I can listen to you, but I don't have to look at you. I could totally have a conversation and you'll still be able to hear me.
Okay, my ears are still listening.
Yeah.
But to us, if you don't have your total attention focused, then you're dividing your attention and I don't feel heard.
Well, the other thing is when you're talking to somebody face to face and they get a grimace on their face, I go, wow, I just said something that upset Daniel. If you're over here like this talking to him, say, Daniel, you're the dumbest person on the planet, and he could smile and think it's funny because I was making a joke, or he could be really pissed off. If I'm looking down at a phone, or I'm looking away, or playing with a Rubik's Cube, whatever, and don't see your reaction, I go off on the assumption, I made a funny joke, Daniel thought it was funny, and
he's sitting there still hurt.
See, he's pissed right now.
So, that's a great point that you're making in regards to that. Like, body language is definitely a big thing when it comes to communicating. It's actually one of the biggest things that normally people my age are like, what's that? Because we're used to trying to read emotion in text.
Emojis.
But that really drives me bonkers. I've said on other videos that people trying to read my emotion in my writing and getting it wrong just really drives
Have
me
to
That's
her all the
crazy.
time.
that's because that's not a good way to communicate. Like a lot of people think it is, but it isn't. Like that's one of my biggest gripes when people are like, "I have a long distance relationship." Interesting. Do you really know how she feels about you?
No.
Do you know she's a she?
Well, that is
That's
just
a whole nother
whole
subject.
other subject.
Wow.
So this is an ongoing
great.
issue. I think we're going to have to talk about this a few more times. So
You made some great points.
yeah, I mean, it helped us. And that's kind of the point of this Together program that we're doing is instead of just saying, oh, Daniel's rude, my sons are rude, your whole generation's rude. Oh, now I understand a little bit more because we spent 4 minutes talking about it.
Well, when it comes to understanding people, the biggest thing, if anything, is you just gotta talk. Like a lot of people hate confrontation and just don't want to talk. But what they don't understand is if you face the confrontation, like even if you have to yell, at least you're still communicating.
True. All right. On that note, hopefully you won't get to the point of yelling, and just try to understand that hey, between the generations there are differences, and it's the same thing with us and our parents. They looked at things a lot differently than we did. And Daniel, when he has kids, if he ever has kids, him and his kids will have a different generational view on things as well. Take care. See you next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
You need some outtakes.
We
We need some outtakes.
We didn't give you a drink. Daniel needs a drink.
Why do I need a drink?
Maybe we need to drink before this.
A drink?
Yeah.
A shot of yay?
Yeah, it's a couple
Shot
shots
again?
and hopefully you're not supposed to do what you call names.
Oh, you're not supposed to say full names?
Yeah,
Interesting,
so
interesting.
You can say bourbon, vodka, liqueur,
So Yeg is okay.
yay, maybe
Yeah,
yay.
yay,
Yeah,
What's
yay.
a yay?
How about a natty?
Ugh,
I learned
no.
what a natty was.
What's a natty?
No.
I was offered at the restaurant where we eat in LaGrange, Georgia.
A natty.
The waitress comes up, the server comes up to me and says, "Oh, we've got natties on sale tonight. Our special tonight are natties. Budweiser Natural Light, Michelob Natural Light beer. They call natties."
No.
It's like the first time I went south of the Mason-Dixon line. My mom and I were in a restaurant and the lady asked us, "Do you want hush puppies with that?" And we looked at each other and said, "What are hush puppies?" And
When
The-
we were
the lady
kids, hush
thought
puppies
we
were
were-
shoes. If you ever heard the word
Yeah.
hush puppy, do you have any
we
clue
thought
what
they
that
wanted
means?
to serve us
Honestly,
shoes.
when I hear hush puppies, I think of like crab and bread balls. Those are,
It's cornbread. It's fried cornbread balls.
oh, cornbread balls. I'm
Yeah.
thinking like the crab balls with bread.
Yeah, like that you get at a greasy fish restaurant. You get hush puppies. They're fried bread.
It's fried bread. There's no crab in the hush puppy.
Huh, weird. I've
I don't
always
know
been-
what you've been eating.
I don't know. I got fish on the mind.
Fried fish sandwich sounds pretty good right now. They have those at the restaurant we're eating.
Let's
10
get
minutes to lunch.
10 minutes to lunch. We should have fish.
Wow, our outtakes almost 10 minutes long. Or that?
No,
Just kept on
you
going.
didn't reset
I
the
didn't
You
time.
didn't reset the timer when you pushed the button on the camera.
So outtakes.
Outtakes.
Hardest thing to do, funny enough. Like I've seen so many different versions of outtakes on YouTube.
Okay.
They are just like so cringy sometimes.
Cringy. What's the word cringy?
Cringy. So it's like someone does something and it irks you, or they do something that just doesn't feel natural. It's
Okay.
cringy.
Cringy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Do that again. For Ken. Do that for Ken. Don't use that.
Probably. He'll probably do like, is she having a seizure? No. He'll make the dog go like her. You hit an unarmed child? How dare you?
Here.
Here, have a pill.
No, I don't want to be armed. Now you'll fight me. This is how politics work, right?
Build the wall, build the wall.
Is that
All
enough for
Is
you?
that enough outtakes for you, Ken?
I don't know. I think he's just getting the cringe material together.
That's good.
Okay, on that note,
Let's hope you taped all that. Yes, you did.
Take one.
if you
Go.
think our video is fishy, well, even if you don't think it's fishy, yeah.
Take two.
Don't be coy. If you like our video, give us a like. If you want, I forget. The next video's over.
Take three.
Don't be coy. Give us a like with a thumbs up. Subscribe over here. Next video's over here.